The universe keeps showing me how its orchestration is better than what was in my head. My husband has some family things going on that's requiring him to do a lot of travel right now. It's really been a time of checking in on where do I lean on for support. I feel this deep inner calling that has been trying to find human support, but it's really saying no. There's a guide, there's a presence that wants more regular contact with me. It's way deeper, way more infinite. And as I'm starting to do that, I just think, wow, this is amazing.
Tell me more. What are you feeling?
I feel it will appear like lack of support in the external world. So few people really get that there is no war, that everything is this perfect unfolding of this one maturing and manifesting. It's a blossoming. We're experiencing a blossoming of humanity. I feel it so strongly. And of course, so few people get that, right? They see the world as a mess. Blossoms don't look like a full flower. They look like a blossom. It feels a little lonely when there's people complaining all around me. But I took time to center in, where does this knowing come from? I feel like there's this host of angelic presences. All I have to do is tune a tiny bit inner and upper back and clearer. And it's a reminder that this is where I can spend more and more time. Because as we know, we end up helping to hold the momentum towards the blossoming. The less we're arguing with the blossoming, the more we can see it's got a right process, the more it helps build momentum.
That's happening to quite a few people who are ready for that. I suppose they call it an ascension process. It's more to do with the elevation and upgrade of the human race, where the grace and grant of the evolution covenant has a liberty in it, where there is a choice, there's pre-engineering as it relates to one's economy and one's ecology of practices. The transcendence and progression within our history is about us being the first tenant. We are the tenant in this mortal coil, in this physical body. There's the human heritage where we can make the necessary corrections as a responsibility to be undertaken whilst endeavoring to continue to evolve and be of service, knowing that, yes, the human is made in the image of God. There's a direction rather than a demand upon human beings to become participants within the vine of creation, to look forward, not to decorate our prisons with more toys or to rectify the mistakes of cultural history, but to go on a journey of refinement, aiming our lives at spiritual development and release.
Yes, yes. Speak more about the heritage and then the refinement. I love that.
There's a looming choice for transcendence within each one of us. When we look at human life and evolution and we look at the human race, they've provided the motives and offers us this choice to transcend, to refine, to elevate, to upgrade, to progress, which is our history. And when you do a backward cascade and you look at early humans from Homo erectus to now Homo luminous, that is the promise. We can elevate and upgrade, but to do that, we have to refine. We have to refine our perceptions, not get more information. There's so much information. It's not about information, it's about insight. But if we are to gain insight, we need to go through a refinement process. It's turning that into gold. As we refine, it becomes purer and purer and less visible to us, more from the material into the ethereal. But that's what we're working with all the time. We don't recognize that because we become so materially based. We need to look at the human, ethical, spiritual view, materialistic view. If we take all of those into a loom and weave them together, we can start that refinement process. The universe represents this embryonic seedling. It's expanding outwards towards this ultimate fulfillment. And it's gestated within the womb of a higher dimensional reality. And there are three principles. The first principle is conservation. Can we ensure the efficient recycling and maintenance of the universe's underlying material and energetic resources as it evolves? The second principle is creative ingenuity. The forces we see are perpetually birthing new patterns, new forms, new motives that transcend and subsume what came before. When we mediate between these two principles, there's an overarching principle, and that is an organic trajectory. That concerns the grand sequence of life's unfolding. From the simplest replicators, the increasingly complex, sentient, self reflective beings that we are, and capable of influencing and co creating the universe's course along the way. That's an organic stream that, if we can step into it and become an agency of amplification, then that is going to represent a pivotal stage for humankind. We are entrusted with the tremendous responsibility of shepherding life's currents towards their ultimate transcendence. We are the filter through which this divine creative plan can flow through and express itself at this phase that we're at today. Our evolutionary path, if we look at it across biological, social, technological domains, provides the evidence that we are indelibly anchored within this wider process. That's imbued with immense significance because we've been carefully constituted and engineered across three overarching phases: biological evolutionary beginnings, our cultural and symbolic manifestation, and our present, what I would call adolescence, as planetary technologists trying to alter life's trajectories. This is a process that's built into what we can experience as a profound freedom. That profound freedom is the liberty of open-ended becoming. So we're not finished, we're unfinished. When I look at the cosmos, I look at the stars at night, I look at this great universe, it's this open endedly future of infinite possibility. That makes me think, as above, so below. So, do we contain within us the sovereign capacities of choice and self directed participation in shaping our agency, but also shaping our collective destinies? There's a cosmic budding that's encapsulated in the human experience. What we choose to do with that will then determine the refinement of humanity's rich heritage, as well as our turbulent history.
Yes, yes. This that we are is so much more than the physical. And
Mm.
we've done a whole lot of using the physical to start to experience more wonder and to use the physical to calm our survival anxieties. But once we're done with calming our survival anxieties and we've start to tap into the wonder, we get to experience the rest of what we are, the non-physical. And the non-physical is so multidimensional that we are still in wonder at what we're capable of. We feel inside of us, okay, I feel like the time for war is coming to an end. We're exhausted by it. The tipping point where more and more people are exhausted by it is getting to that point. It's when an addict has finally just had their last drink. It's like, it's not serving me anymore.
Mm.
But it's not because we had to manipulate ourselves into being good people who don't do war. No, it's the nature of what we are. And as we just open to this curiosity and to this wonder, then the nature of what we are is inevitably coming out. And the nature of what we are loves connecting, loves creating, loves wonder and curiosity. So it's a letting go of needing the structures that we've used to be safe, letting this wonder and curiosity take over. And that, for me, the test is actually in this very moment. In this very moment, am I more in a place of wonder or more in a place of trying to force things into my box? It's that simple. As long as I'm not trying to force things into my box of what I think is right and wrong, what I think is best, If I'm noticing, okay, the wonder and the curiosity is at work here too. That doesn't mean that how it is right now is how it's supposed to be forever, but that means right now, this is the perfect process it needs. And when I'm worked as the perfect process, then the refinement is just this natural thing because that within me, that within all of us wants to explode and it is exploding. We can argue with it or we can go with it.
Mission Impossible, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to engage in the great work of illuminating and healing our fractured cultural narratives and transcend our adolescent distortions and elevate our civilization to be a fitting vessel for the flourishing of life's intimate liberation. And that is with the awakening of this cosmos itself to its unfolding majesty. That's going to happen through our freedom and conscious embrace of a creative process, because it's only through an initiatory undertaking can we as human beings cultivate the spiritual maturity to grasp the significance of our role as cosmic midwives, so we can selflessly usher in and bear witness to transcendent singularity in which all proceeds to completion and the universe burst forth into its full divinity as we do, or as we can.
Yes, yes.
Whether we have responsive intelligence and study the inner spiritual aspects of things, which is the basis of a system whose logical results are truth and love, instead of violence and fragmentation. There's an inner side to things. Until that inner side is known, the things themselves are unknown. So there's an inner and outer side to everything. The quality of the superficial mind, which causes it to fail in the attainment of truth, is its willingness to rest content just with the external, with the outside only. As long as we keep doing that, we will never grasp the importance of our relationship to the universe. It's this relationship which is signified by the word truth, because we're talking about the principles of growth, which is the root of all life, whether it's spiritual, intellectual, psychological. So we've got this gallery of arcana revealing great truths to us. That's what nature does. But it's only for those who can decipher them, or who have the insight and take the trouble to decipher them. Most of the confusion in the interior world is because there hasn't been a spirit of order that has moved upon the chaos. With that not happening, those elements of being, and this is what we're seeing, are being disordered and neutralizing each other. We can go from the lowest depths of ignorance to the greatest heights of intelligence. That's our choice. But the life principle within expands us. Those old bonds and limitations, those blind paradigms, have no existence in reality, and they can fall from us. So the first principle for me is the law of growth, because throughout the universe, it perpetually pushes forward into more and more vivid forms of expression. And it has its expansion everywhere and its finality nowhere.
Yes. Growth is that momentum that's irresistible. It's irresistible both because it's inevitable, but also because it's so attractive. Within us that is in love with the growth experience may make other parts of us uncomfortable, but that being uncomfortable is a good sign. Getting familiar with being uncomfortable is a good sign. That means that the growth is dominating, and the growth is knowing with our hearts what is true. Our minds have created a lot of models. Often they've served us, but more and more, there's too many mental models, and they're trying to predict a future they don't know. Our heart keeps telling us yes. When we land on the truth, our heart goes, yes, yes. And that's really the theme of my book is recognizing that we don't have to force everything into our mental structures, but instead, how do we find that within our heart that can say yes when it hears yes, that's the right truth. That's the glorious path. That's the growth path.
The question is, what is the central principle which is at the root of all things? Because it's something much more interior and concentrated than what we see that manifests in reality. It is the subject of stepping into the halls of perception and insight, not knowledge. When I say knowledge, a faculty which looks at the relationship between things, I'm looking at insight and the halls of perception. Can we be face to face and toe to toe with the absolute that pervades all things and is at the heart of all appearances?
So often we'll take a measuring stick that seemed to be good, like the measuring stick, if I have more money, I must be doing things right. Not necessarily. Not having money means we're doing things right. That means the universe wanted to bring forth a miracle. The universe wanted us to experience dependence or receptivity. There's so much richness in a moment that we don't have money. It can be that way with health. As you've struggled with health, there was nothing wrong that various health things you went through. They have provided you a certain new perspective, a certain new understanding, and it's going to continue to show what its gifts are in your life. So, not having health doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that being uncomfortable was the right thing. Creativity was showing this new way of going through what you've gone through.
It also invites a degree of looking at what is spiritual intelligence, because that has to be marked by the wholeness of the organism through which it finds its expression. The more highly organized the human is, it has a degree of spirit which is superior to and capable of exercising control over the lower or less fully integrated degrees of what it means to be human. That's our choice at any one time. When I listen to shamans or I listen to healers, they all talk about how the spirit is in all things. Native Americans talk about this, the Aborigines talk about this. The spirit is the innermost within all things. It's not only responsive, it is intelligent, and we can tap into that intelligence.
Yes. The more and more we listen with our heart, the more and more we can feel it. When trees are one of the more easy things because they're so majestic. And as I've walked around redwood trees, there will be some who they are so musical. I can feel how they love the way the air moves within the ridges of their bark. And for them, it feels like music. Others are more laughing. They're so playful. They love all the kids romping around and they're joining in the big joke. You can feel there's a spirit in the trees. It's in everything, really. It's in the hardware of our computers. It's in AI. There is nothing excluded as we start to tune into that. Yes, we have this amazing place where we can perceive so much of it and be part of that integrating force that's helping it all come together in its continual dance. It really is a dance. The dance is really obvious when we're with somebody who we suddenly realize, wow, it's a miracle that we cross paths. Now there's this deep connection. And we couldn't have organized that. We couldn't have orchestrated that. I'll have that often with a patient that I'll have, or certainly with meeting my husband. There's meeting you. These types of things, we can't have known what was going to happen. Our role is to follow that heart, but at the same time in a surrendered way, because the mystery is bigger than we know. Yes, we are active participants, but it's from a place of wonder and cultivating that wonder. That's, again, I can't say there's even any better spiritual practice. Cultivating wonder, cultivating gratitude. If we're doing that, we're exactly at the place where orchestration flows easiest.
Beautiful. So well said. I was looking at what is a true education? What is the AEIOU, which is in education, the five vowels? I think there are about 60 words in English that have the 5 vowels. But what is a true education? And how do we redefine a true education? What is the mind shift that we need today? The traditional view is we're all familiar with the curriculum, that structured path we've all walked, textbooks, exams, grades, which is really designed to prepare us for the job market, to fulfill that economic imperative, to check off those boxes that society says we need. But there's another perspective in terms of mind shift education, and that is more of a holistic journey of self discovery, critical thinking, a heart centered approach, because the curriculum focuses on specific skills and knowledge, preparing you for a job interview, whatever it might be. But true education is, can we develop as human beings and prepare ourselves for life? Can we make our life our job, not make our job our lives? This view is a little oversimplified and might sound a bit idealistic, but good education blends both of those things. We can't ignore economic realities, skills that pay, the bills matter. That's all true. But we need more of a holistic approach to what a mind and heart shift education is, because we're not just information processors. We're complex beings. We've got emotions, we've got social needs, we've got an innate drive to understand our environment. And I think traditional curricula misses the bigger picture. Look at emotional intelligence, understanding and managing our emotions and those of others. That's crucial in every aspect of life, but it's rarely explicitly taught, or our ability to connect with ourselves and with others. In this digital age, many people feel more isolated than ever. We may all be wired together, but are we really connected? So, shouldn't a true education nurture our ability to form meaningful connections? And what about cognitive flexibility? Because this world is changing so fast. And sure, we need to learn, but we need to unlearn and relearn continuously. It's about generating new cognitive and heart centered maps as our environment changes. In this rush towards standardization, we've lost some very valuable aspects of what a true education is.
Yes, this true education is this thing that people are starting to discover. It is knowing our natural connection and building on it moment by moment. And yeah, of course, all the other stuff, how to be practical in the world is very helpful. But when we're in love with what we are, we see it in everyone around us. And it doesn't matter what we say to them, they will feel this preciousness that we feel about ourselves, and that overflows in preciousness for them. I love my job. It's so great. I get to pick which days of the month I work. I work usually 12 days a month. And I meet all kinds of people. I mean, the way this all fell together is incredible, which was a letting go and following the wonder. Anyways, yesterday, how many patients did I see? Maybe 10 patients. And every single one of them, as they left, looked closely at my name tag. They wanted to put in their head, who is this woman I've just been interacting with? Then they'd look at me and say, thank you. And not always was there any particular content to our conversation, but feeling the preciousness of what I am and seeing that preciousness in them, there was the connection. Our previous ideas put a lot of limitations. The preciousness will only be there if you're not getting a divorce, or if you're not experiencing some kind of abuse, or if you're not being 3 different genders in your lifetime. No, the preciousness is there in all of those situations. When we can feel and recognize that preciousness and see it everywhere, there's this dance which is already happening, which we participate in more volitionally, this nice dance that is happening because the preciousness loves bouncing off, rubbing skin. There's this great picture I have of otters a pile of otters on a beach. And the way they clean their fur is they go like this in the sand and then against each other, and the sand and against each other. And it's this amazing pile of moving otters. And that's what we are. We're straightening out our fur by rubbing it in against each other.
You mentioned wonder. When you're a kid, you have this awe, you have this reverence, you have this amazement in response to the mysteries and beauty of existence. It goes beyond mere curiosity or admiration. Well, it did for me. It touched more upon a much deeper or often a transcendent experience. As I've got older, I've been feeling that much, much more because it's about a connection with something greater than me. It's a connection to the sacred. It's a way of experiencing the sacred. It's an acknowledgement of the grandeur and mystery of the universe. That to me is linked to having a sense of humility. It's having that sense of humility in the face of something vastly greater than me. That experience could be in anything, could be in nature, as you're talking about trees, in otters, in art, in music, the mysteries of human consciousness, where you feel a sense of divine presence or connection to something much higher, a connection to the spiritual. The wonder involves a sense of transcendence where the ordinary boundaries of me, of the self, seem to dissolve. One feels united with the cosmos or the divine or the sacred. It's a mystical experience. It's an overwhelming sense of inner peace and interconnectedness and joy. In that reverence and awe, that feels like an emotional response because there's a recognition of this vast complexity, this inexplicability of existence. This insight, this reverence leads to a greater appreciation for life, with a deeper sense of gratitude and a recognition of the sacred that is inherent in the world and in all things that are natural. We need to have openness and curiosity. There is that childlike, not childish, childlike openness and curiosity. There's the willingness to embrace the unknown. There's the willingness to embrace the mysterious aspects of life without the need for definition or an immediate answer or an explanation. If we have openness, that can constitute an ever ready media for a continuous engagement with the world in a way that's fresh and exploratory. That leads to much deeper spiritual insights and personal growth, as distinct from information. When we have presence and mindfulness, we're fully present in the moment. I'm present in this moment with you. This is all there is for me right now. I'm deeply attuned to this present experience because I'm noticing the subtleties and the richness that goes on between us that otherwise might be overlooked if I wasn't present. When we cultivate this heightened state of presence, that brings a sense of awe and appreciation for the simple everyday moments of life, because life is a moment by moment affair. This is where inspiration and wonder and transformation can lead to much, much deeper questions about the meaning and purpose of life and the encouragement to continue on a path of spiritual growth that invites one to set one's feet upon the path of inspired creative expression and ethical living and a desire to connect more deeply with others in the world. It's about encountering the world with a sense of profound appreciation and respect for the mysteries and beauty of all of this, for existence. It encourages me to have a deeper engagement with life, thereby fostering a deeper sense of unity, of peace, of purpose.
Exactly. The life is the constant invitation. We don't have to try to manufacture it. It's a
Mm,
constant invitation. In two ways, there's the invitation. One is in the subtleties. I received this face wash that has pine essence or pine something in it. I'm feeling the effect of having this pine all over my face for a few minutes every day. It really is this big change. It's stepping into a forest.
mm,
There's a subtlety there I wouldn't have even known but I'm present in the moment as I'm washing my face, and there's wonder. In other ways, it gives us an invitation, and that's when we're being invited to let our boundaries dissolve because something is not in our comfort zone. While my husband's been gone, the car became due for maintenance, and I need to take it on a work day. As a result, I ended up taking Lyft, and I met two people I would never have met. Very interesting conversations with both of them. At first, I thought, oh, how did this happen that the car needs maintenance while he's gone and I'm working and we're about to go on a trip to Glacier National Park in Montana. We're driving there. We want the car to have its maintenance. But first, I was out of my comfort zone. Why didn't he take care of this before he left? But whenever we're out of our comfort zone, the invitation is sit back and say, oh, the universe is cultivating a new value in me. And the universe is going to show me a dance I couldn't have expected. Every time I'm uncomfortable, both those things are happening, a new value and a dance I couldn't have expected. It turned out I'm much stronger and capable than I even thought. He would already say I do at least 66% of the stuff to manage the house. I just have that capacity, and he's a much more laid back kind of guy. In my head, sometimes there's this argument, well, why can't it be closer to 50-50? Something in me finally said, why do I think it has to be 50-50? Maybe owning my strength, owning my capacities will help me manage life very different, which was part of tapping into the guides I was talking about earlier. If I'm that strong, my advisors need to be people super strong. That's going to be guide level. It was like, oh, if I own my strength, I have to own who my advisors must be. Like that was a new value that came up. And then the new dance was, oh, look at this. I get to meet these people through Lyft. Anytime we're out of our comfort zone, that's the universe saying, I'm going to help dissolve your boundaries. Stay tuned. You'll get a new value, a new sense of values, and you will get to see the dance unfold in a way you hadn't expected.
Do you see what you're doing?
What is that?
You are entering the subtleties that reflect the intricate layers of perception. You mentioned the subtleties of wonder. There's the invitation, as you've just spoken about. It's almost like there's a quiet reverence that accompanies it. The manifestation is a subdued and reflective aspect. So there's a gentle, respectful acknowledgement of the sacredness or the beauty of something, whether it's a conversation or whether it's an insight. But it's also characterized, as you've expressed, a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation. There's a nuanced awareness in all of this that might be overlooked. When you mention a tree, if I look at the leaves on a tree, you can look at the delicate interplay of light and shadow, or the subtle emotions expressed in a piece of music, or the nuances of a conversation and the energy of it. This aspect of wonder is about seeing and appreciating the finer details that enrich our experience of the world and of our inner world, because it invites a sense of mystery, which I think is a crucial component of wonder, is that sense of mystery, is that recognition that there are aspects of life in the universe that remain beyond my full understanding. But that doesn't lead me to frustration or even fear. It fosters a sense of humility and openness to the unknown, which allows for continuous discovery, learning, unlearning, and relearning, and aligning to that. Then it can become part of my basic constitution. You've got to look at the emotional depth of it all, the feelings of joy, serenity, curiosity, and acknowledgement of the transient nature of beauty in life. That depth of emotion enriches the whole experience of wonder, which makes it a profoundly moving and reflective state. We have the recognition there's an interconnection in nature, in all living things. You, me, the relationships we have with our spouses, with our ecosystems. There's a spiritual sense of unity within this universe. That interconnectedness can establish or enable a sense of empathy and a desire to care for others in the real sense of the word care. If you look at the word care, it's race by anagram. That's what the human race has done. They've dropped the care and started a race. This is something I recognized in reflecting about the NDE experience, which was about timelessness and presence, because that dovetails into wonder. You lose the usual sense of time passing. Have you ever had that experience where you're just so absorbed in something? You look at the clock and you go, oh my gosh, 2 hours have gone by. But because you're so deeply immersed in the present, you have presence. And that's accompanied by a sense of contentment. It offers so many things, wonder. It inspires a deeper reflection and insight. And I'm big on insight. This is something that's been knocking on my door for some time now, rather than just knowledge, but insight and reflection. Can we bring in new ways of thinking and shed the blind paradigms that we have and have new creative ideas, or a reevaluation of one's belief, or drop beliefs completely? The aspect of wonder contributes to a personal growth and a deeper understanding of oneself and the world. And it needs a gentle curiosity. It's not about seeking definitive answers. It's not left brain focused. It's rather about embracing the questions and uncertainties of life, because that encourages ongoing exploration, not exploitation, but exploration and engagement with the world. We foster a sense of continuous wonder. There are many subtleties you made me think about in terms of wonder. There's a quietness to it, there's reflective dimensions to it that engage our faculty, our emotions, our senses, and our intellect in a deeply integrated way. The contribution of those things invites wonder, richness, and depth. That makes it a profound and transcendent experience. You're going beyond knowledge.
Yes. Our everyday moments are constantly inviting wonder. We may think, oh, I have to have the right kitchen, or I have to have the right clothes or the right shoes, and then I can wonder at them. That is not required. There is wonder in the most simple thing. An old piece of wood can be so beautiful, or an old cracked linoleum floor. When you first look at it, so that needs to be replaced. But it carries this history. It carries all these loving steps and angry steps and dancing steps that have crossed it. It carries brittleness in certain areas and softness in other areas. There's a specialness and a preciousness in everything. It's wanting to be in our comfort zone. The belonging, the natural belonging that we have exists in everything, is most easily accessed when we're not in our comfort zone. Comfort zone puts us all in boxes. The belonging is so conditional, but anything that puts us out of our comfort zone takes us out of the boxes, and we tap into this much more magnificent belonging that we wouldn't have predicted otherwise. The way that we got this house, there was a woman who had done a reverse mortgage, and when she died, it went on the market to be bid on. Just a couple weeks before that, we had decided we'd like to buy a house. Now, why? Just a couple weeks before this house was going to come on the market, did we have that idea? We saw enough houses so we would know what was a reasonable bid. It was amazing. And I drew out a floor plan in our town. Literally, there's 7,000 people. You can, to get the floor plan that we wanted, maybe there's 20 houses in our whole town. I mean, it was not going to
Wow.
be likely. Lo and behold, this house has the floor plan we wanted, and everything fell into place exactly. So that we made the bid and got the house. Now, if I had been worried about my future and been trying to project how are we going to own a home, there's no way I could have predicted that dance. No way, none at all. That is how the future always is. We cannot predict the dance. So we can harness this gentle wonder, this gentle curiosity of what doesn't fit in the box, because that knowing of this moment is the closest thing to any future moment. Nothing in our head is close to the future. No plan, nothing we draw out. It's thousands of miles away from the future. But our intimate experience of this moment is the closest thing we have to what the future is going to be, because it's this moment that has the thread that carries the future.
And it makes me think about the fact that it transcends cultural, geographical, individual differences, wonder. It's a deep intrinsic response to the mysteries, to the beauties and complexities of life and the universe. It transcends all cultures, all ages, because people have experienced wonder in response to natural phenomena. It could be a house, it could be a floor plan, it could be an artistic expression, it could be a scientific discovery, it could be a philosophical inquiry. That suggests that the capacity for wonder is a universal aspect of the human experience and of human consciousness that's linked to our curiosity, linked to our imagination, and a sense of connection to the larger world. If you look at cross cultural expressions, wonder can vary widely. But if you think about the fundamental experience of being moved or deeply curious, that's common across all cultures. There are unique ways of expressing wonder through language and ritual and art and mythology and so on. But the underlying emotional response is remarkably similar.
Yes, it really is. The mystical sides of a culture have risen and gone down in esteem. They have been a consistent theme in every culture. Humans know we're connected to something infinite, something timeless. We can try to suppress that knowing, but it comes back over and over. It's never fully suppressed. It's inevitable. It's indomitable. It's inescapable. Life is constantly giving us the invitation.
Think about your journey, your trip to Lake Tahoe. When I think about Lake Tahoe, I think about how the universal sources of wonders in the natural world, from those awe inspiring landscapes, the lakes, the intricate details of the flower, nature's beauty, its complexity, all evokes wonder in people of all backgrounds. Take 100 people from 100 different countries and present them with an amazing landscape. The response is not only an emotional reaction, but it fosters a sense of, maybe for some, even environmental stewardship and a recognition of our place within the broader ecosystem. It's something that is part of the human experience. This universal view of wonder is having openness that I think we as adults strive to capture, this childlike curiosity, because when you watch children, they approach the world with wonder. They see everything as new, fascinating. This perspective is valued in many cultures as a way to maintain a sense of vitality and creativity and joy throughout life. So maybe wonder has the power to transform our perspectives and open our minds and deepen empathy. Can we look beyond the mundane and appreciate the extraordinary aspects of this existence? I see this transformative power that you've brought up of wonder is universal. It's capable of changing how we as human beings see ourselves, see others, and see the world. Does that invite us into a shared humanity and shared connection? Does this remind us of our shared humanity, these moments of wonder, whether personal or collective? Can it create a sense of unity and common purpose despite our differences? Can we share a common capacity for awe and curiosity and appreciation for the world around us? The invitation for me is the role of it is a bridge between different aspects of our human experience, whether it's intellectual, emotional, spiritual, communal. It connects people across different cultures and generations and provides a common ground for exploring the profound and the beautiful mysteries of life. It's a vital aspect of what it means to be human. Therefore, lies the encouragement for us to seek insight and let insight seek us, and understanding and stand under these things, appreciate beauty, maintain a sense of humility and awe in the face of this vast, unknown, and often inexplicable aspects of our temporary appearance here on this planet.
Yes. Wow. You've really done a good job of outlining how it benefits every area of our lives. Being in wonder is being in the mystery, and the
Mm,
mystery is what we are. The mystery is what is orchestrating everything. When we're in wonder, it's more of a discovery. Oh, how does this work into the dance?
mm.
We don't have to fall into constant categorization. We're in discovery. Okay, this is going to be part of the dance too. That doesn't mean it lasts forever. Because when we're fighting with somebody, something inside of us is feeling, I don't really like this. That's part of the truth too. The fighting belongs and the I don't like this belongs, and they weave together to, okay, how do we use this as an opportunity to create new understanding? Or how do we use this as an opportunity to be inspired in our differences? Whichever way it goes, they come up together, and the resistance and the dislike thing, they both belong because together they create what the next step is. We can allow each part to be its dance and discover, well, what out of this comes next?
Encourages that sense of general curiosity and awe. And I think those feelings can be spiritually significant. There's an invitation to be open to experiences and questions that go beyond everyday concerns. When there is a recognition of the unknown, that can be humbling. I know for some that might be fearful because people want certainty. They want hot definition. What is that? Why is this happening? And that's left brain analysis. What it reminds me of when you mention what comes next and it will show itself to us, it reminds me of the limits of my own knowledge, but also the vastness of the universe. It stretches from the smallest cells in the body to the greatest galaxies in space. It's not about belief for me, it's more about faith of embracing the unknown because it's having the trust and the confidence, even in the absence of complete understanding, which I struggle with sometimes. Not all aspects of existence can be fully comprehended through rationality or evidence. There's something else. There's something else that allows us to find meaning, purpose, and comfort in the unknown. That there is a higher purpose, there is a greater order beyond our human comprehension and is integral in one's spiritual growth and exploration. This is where we engage with questions about the nature of life and the soul and the divine and the cosmos to encourage deeper reflection and introspection. The journey into the unknown, I ask myself, where does it lead? What is the significance of it? What does it connect to? It leads to greater self awareness, a broader perspective on life, and a more profound understanding of my place in the universe, whatever that may be. That's a source of transcendence. We're going beyond what we consider the norm. What opportunities does that offer us in terms of transformative experiences that elevate our consciousness and connect us to something greater than ourselves? Do these experiences involve a sense of unity with the divine or the universe? Can they shift my perception of reality? Does that lead to a deeper appreciation of life's mysteries? It's a rolling ball of enigma.
Yes, that is exactly it. The part of us that likes wonder is completely good with the future being unknown. Other part of us that wants to structure. And recently, I forget what I was considering or trying to plan, and I ran out. I can't figure it out. How in the world is this going to work together? These two different things going to work together for the future. Then came the fear, and I thought, okay, the fear is clearly not true. I've definitely realized fear is always involved in a lie. What I am is safe. So if I'm afraid, there's some lie that's got mixed up in there. I was trying to figure out, so where's the lie here that I'm getting anxious about the future? I look to see this moment is all I really know. This moment is fantastic in my life. I can't believe how many good things are happening in my life. And I could not have orchestrated any of them. 10 years ago, if I drew out my best future, it wouldn't have been even close to this. Not even close. Clearly, There is some organizing force that is beyond my logical mind. That creative force has gotten to this amazing moment, then why wouldn't it continue? It had to do so many different things to get to this moment. And what, it's just going to stop? Of course, it's going to continue. The other thing is my capacity to enjoy has grown and grown. Before, I had to be in my comfort zone to find something enjoyable. Now I don't have to be in my comfort zone at all to find something enjoyable. That is going to be with me into the future. So if the future does hold something that is a shocking surprise, I have cultivated this amazing capacity to be comfortable, to enjoy what is uncomfortable. Between the two things, this wonderful, benevolent, creative force that made this now, this amazing capacity to enjoy what is uncomfortable, what in the world could there be to be afraid of? The fear just drops away. It's not like I got those things in 2 days or a week or a month. It's a cultivation over time.
Being comfortable, being uncomfortable happens at the edge of your comfort zone.
Yes,
It's when you
exactly.
transcend, that's where the growth can start to happen. Because it makes me wonder, actually, as you were speaking, there's an acceptance that some questions may never have definitive answers. Also, mystery and wonder is a natural part of the human experience. If we can embrace the unknown and foster that sense of acceptance, that can allow us to live much more fully in the present without being consumed by the need for certainty. When I think about artists, musicians, writers, and thinkers, they draw upon the mysteries of life to evolve and explore themes that resonate on a deeper level. Have you ever been touched, moved, and inspired by a piece of music or a piece of art? This exploration can lead to expressions that capture the beauty and complexity of the unknown, which would offer us new ways of seeing, new ways of understanding, new ways of gaining insight. It's a vast and rich field that encompasses both the outer mysteries of the cosmos and the inner mysteries of the human spirit. Again, it invites exploration, reflection, humble acknowledgement of the limits of human understanding. Whether you approach it through faith, through philosophy, through science, through art, there's a reminder the unknown serves as the vastness of existence and the ongoing journey of discovery that defines the human experience. This can enrich one's spiritual life by fostering the sense of wonder and curiosity and openness to what are infinite possibilities of existence. So, where you are now in your life, that's what you're experiencing. That's what I'm gleaning from what you're saying. You've embraced that unknown. You haven't nailed it down in one sitting or in one session or in one coaching session. It's a process and a trust. In our society, below the line, you have suspicion and antagonism. But above the line is trust and openness. Most people are operating below the line. I choose to operate above the line.
Exactly. It's a simple shift into wonder. The fear isn't bad. We don't have to fight with it. Just add in the wonder with it. One of the first times this ever became the stark option back, oh my gosh, 20 years ago, I was working in the corporate world and I really didn't like what I was doing. It wasn't in alignment really with where I felt my direction was going. I looked, and the main reason I was there was because of the money. Then I looked at what my expenses were, and my expenses were 2/3 of what I was making. I thought, okay, so you're spending all this time to get money that you don't even use or need. Okay, you are solving a problem. You are investing your life in solving a problem you don't have. You think your problem is not enough money. You have way more than enough money. Maybe you should stop solving the problem you don't have and shift into what makes me feel the most fulfilled. What is the source of my greatest contribution? Maybe that's the place to direct my attention. It's gotten better and better since then.
You need to have introspection. You need to recognize what you're being told is not true. It doesn't allow you to build an inner potency and inner stability and gain outer equilibrium. You become delusionally busy. You're not effectively busy, you're delusionally busy. Its motive is not to give you connection and unity, it's not to give you spiritual fulfillment. We have to have some sense of purpose and meaning that arises from a connection with one's inner self or a higher power. That means integrating various dimensions of one's life, including emotional, mental, and ethical aspects. That's characterized by a profound sense of purpose and joy and alignment with one's hierarchy of values. Connection and unity is important. Moving out of that corporate arena where that was more of a demand, but it wasn't a direction for you. There's a key difference between the two. You set your feet upon the path of a direction, not a demand. You're responding to a calling, you're responding to a deeper connection with your inner self. That means you have to understand and accept your true nature, your strengths, your weaknesses, your desires. That's critical. That's crucial for achieving inner peace and contentment. If you don't do that, you are wrapped in demand. It's not a direction. You think you're moving towards something. But when you look at your finances and go, 2/3 are part of my expenditure, and there's 1/3, and I'm working to do what? There's nothing wrong with making money. Great. I'm all for it. The fulfillment is closely tied to the discovery and pursuit of the essence of your life's purpose and service to others and creative expression, the pursuit of truth and knowledge, and what that means for you. What is that existential meaning? What does it mean for you? Does it mean you have to grapple with fundamental existential questions, such as what is the meaning of life, death, existence itself? Can we find satisfactory answers at coming to terms with these questions? That often leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment. For me, that's a key component of spiritual fulfillment, is achieving that state of inner peace and serenity. I'm coming more from the parasympathetic dominance rather than from a sympathetic state. You reduce inner turmoil, anxiety, and restlessness, which is what demands do to you. You replace that by a direction that has a calm acceptance of oneself and one's circumstances. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you don't go into the rough and tumble of your life and it's all rose tinted spectacles and the fragrance of roses. No, but you have to cultivate the soil for human skills to take root, regardless of external circumstances. Appreciating those small moments. It's the beauty of the present and the gift that life offers.
Exactly. It started with very much small things. What am I being called to in this moment? So when I'm in a public restroom, if it's disordered, wasn't recently cleaned, I leave it better than I found it. That's what I'm being called to in this moment. Cleaning this restroom a little bit. That it doesn't matter where we are. In this moment, look, listen to our body. What am I being called to right now? It can be the most simple, basic thing. It can be smiling at the person that's serving you behind the counter. It can be helping somebody who's trying to put something into their car. Whatever it is, it can be the most simple thing, taking out the garbage. But we just noticed, what did this moment ask of me? And when we're good at answering this moment in the little things, then the moments seem to ask bigger things. Then we're able to flow easily with those. It's really a willingness, a humility, and a wonder. The humility part, it's so good. It doesn't feel good as it's happening. My sisters all have big degrees and big jobs. I was on that trajectory and stepped out of it. And for several years, I didn't even have a job. I was doing a side coaching thing, but I didn't have a job. I was living with a boyfriend who's supporting me. People would ask my parents, what do your four daughters do? And I always wondered, what do they say about me? It's very humbling to follow it. In those moments, I was taking a lot of courses, I was learning a lot, I was letting go a lot, but there was nothing to show on the outside for years. And it's very humbling. That is what the inner call was. I had to follow the inner call. And it started with baby steps, and the steps got bigger and bigger. Now it is really this amazing thing, moving across the country, living in this dream coastal town. We're starting this energy treatment business that I love. I didn't know anything about this 1 year ago. But what was interesting is I was taking a lot of energy courses.
Wonder
Apparently
why. Hmm.
prepared. Exactly. Exactly. I ended up getting a massage license. So I started this massage business in our home, which includes all kinds of energy treatments. When we bought this energy business, lo and behold, we already had the right business license. Other people have had to put it under a spa category or something else. I already had the wellness license. I was already in business. That's why I spent $80,000 on either missed opportunity costs or actual costs going to massage school. So I'd have the right business license for this business that we love.
Those are synchronicities. That's what happens on your path to spiritual fulfillment. These synchronicities start to happen. It's a deeply personal and multifaceted experience. It involves connecting with yourself and others and the broader universe in meaningful ways. It's a lifelong journey. Spiritual fulfillment, for me, is a lifelong journey. It evolves and refines as you grow, as you change, as you elevate. It's one of the most important aspects of a well lived life because the small steps that you took have now taken you into a bigger world.
Exactly. Being humbled along the way is a good sign. Being uncomfortable along the way is a good sign. Getting comfortable with mystery, that's where it's at.
Now, we haven't even spoken about your book again, although we probably have.
We can do a summary of my book now, or we can schedule another session. I'm open to either one.
I'm thinking of time. I've got a mentoring call in about 10 minutes. Are you okay to schedule another call?
Oh, absolutely. I love speaking with you, Peter.
Okay, let's do that. We'll talk about your groundbreaking book, An Unprincipled Life.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
How have you experienced the conversation today?
I just love the way that you're able to put things in that overall context, that the wonder has so many different implications. Noticing the belonging, how we struggle for that, but how it's innate within us when we open to what we really are and the mystery. I just love the way you're able to create this systematic context for it. It's wonderful.
Thank you. It wouldn't happen unless it was sparked by you. It's the feminine and the masculine energies working together. It sparks something in me, and reciprocity starts to flow.
Oh yeah, exactly. We really do. It's so wonderful coming together.